Why, hello everyone, how are you doing this fine day? Hope you're enjoying your week. Welcome to another survival challenge, in particular, a God of War survival challenge. And even more particular, a Greek God of War survival challenge. And you might be saying, Rouga, why aren't you using Norse Kratos? Corey Barlog said that Norse Kratos is stronger than Greek Kratos. You're using a weaker version of the character. Is it because you think the Norse games are pieces of shit? No, it is not because I think the Norse games are pieces of shit. I mean, they are pieces of shit, but that's not the reason. The reason is because the entire concept of this video is to take Kratos, make him go on a rampage against an entire pantheon of gods, just like he did in God of War 3, and the truth is that Norse Kratos wouldn't do that. He doesn't go on rampages, he doesn't like them. He thinks they're too mean, and he's like a god of peace or something now. He specifically does everything he can to not fight at his strongest, even when his own life and the life of his child is in danger, like when he allowed Thor to fucking kill him at the beginning of the Norse game, even though he knew that Odin was with his son back at the cabin. Yeah, Thor did not have to bring him back to life and resurrect him. He could have just let him fucking die and murdered his son. Kratos knew this was all a possibility and held back anyway. What a bitch. So no, we are using the superior, more powerful, better written version of Kratos back in God of War 3. But I've wasted up your time. Let's get started. Alright, first things first, we gotta talk about Kratos. What's he capable of? What kind of a character is he? What's he gonna do? All that kind of stuff. But before we get into that, we need to talk about something because it always comes up every time you talk about anything God of War. This comes up, and I need to bat it aside immediately. I do not care what any creator of this game, whether it's an art director or game designer, whatever, has said about the story outside of the context of the actual games themselves. I understand that Scalers made up this stupid rule called Word of God, whereas when the author says something, you take it exactly as the author said. It doesn't matter if it contradicts the actual story that he made, you just go with whatever that person says. What you need to understand is the reason why they say this is because Scalers are more interested in looking smart as opposed to actually being smart. If you've ever taken any kind of reading course or reading comprehension course or creative writing course, you know that the rule is actually the exact opposite. It's called death of the author. I mean, shit, just join a book club for like a month and you realize very quickly that a lot of authors say a lot of stupid shit after their art comes out that completely contradicts the shit they wrote. It is extremely common for authors' mindset to completely change over time and for them to regret certain things they've written or change their minds about certain things and say a bunch of stuff about it after the fact that in no way aligns with what's actually on the written page. This is extremely common. The Word of God rule is fucking stupid and only exists because Scalers don't actually read. I mean, good for them, they're not gay, but they aren't very smart either. It's the same situation with the whole no limits fallacy thing. In scaling, they have this fallacy called the no limits fallacy, which is basically like if you argue that a character has limitless power, and it's like this whole thing. That's stupid. It's not a fallacy. It's not a real fallacy. They just made it up. And the reason why they made it up is because they don't know what the actual fallacies are, and they don't know that there are actually several fallacies that could be describing what they're talking about. They just don't actually want to learn anything and actually know things. They want to sound like they know things. So they just make shit up. The fact of the matter is that there are so many statements made by so many different creators of God of War that directly conflict with the series, including many statements by Corey Barlog. He has a really bad habit of saying really dumb shit that does not in any way align with the shit that happens in the game. Good example is one that I already kind of touched on, where he said that Norse Kratos is actually stronger than Greek Kratos, despite the fact that God of War Ragnarok directly states that he's weaker because he lost all of his magic power due to him destroying the world in the Greek games, and the magic of Greece was tied to the land, so by destroying the land, he destroyed all the magic, which by itself doesn't make any fucking sense, because if he destroyed the land and killed everyone, who the hell was he releasing the power of hope to at the end of God of War 3? Or how did the power of hope even fucking exist since all the magic was destroyed, because the power of hope is Greek magic? Like, how the fuck does he even have the Blades of Chaos if all the Greek magic was destroyed with the land? Blades of Chaos are also Greek magic. Okay, I'm not gonna get into Norse. The games are written really shitty. The Norse games are fucking terrible. I'm not getting into it. My point is that even outside of the Norse games, Corey Barlog has said a lot of shit that just straight up isn't true when you actually play through the games. He at one point said that Greek gods get stronger as they get older. This was sort of his defense for saying that Norse Kratos was stronger than Greek Kratos. That's not true, because the strongest of the Greek gods, Zeus, was the youngest of his three brothers. We know this in the game. It's very clearly shown Zeus is the strongest god. time. This is stated time and time again, and we visually see it. He single-handedly beats all the Titans by himself and was the only person capable of defeating Kratos. So if you're watching this video and I say something and you disagree with it, and your reason for disagreeing with it is because some dude at some point said outside of the games that what I'm saying is not true, I'm letting you know now, I don't care. In order to properly argue with the things I'm saying, you're gonna have to show me something in-game that contradicts it. In-game, in a novel, somewhere in the lore, something that is actually part of the medium, not a fucking Twitter post. So in some ways, I think that Kratos is a lot stronger than people give him credit for. In other ways, I think he's a lot weaker than people give him credit for. Like, one of the things I completely disagree with is the whole speed thing. A lot of people argue that this dude is infinite in speed, which, one, I think infinite speed is a complete bullshit concept. In theory, according to some people, infinite speed is when you can travel between two distances and no time passes, which is like teleportation, except you're actually moving through the distance in between, which would just be time stop. That's not a speed at all. There is no speed. If time isn't moving, you can't even calculate speed, because speed is distance and time. Remove the time aspect, you're just in stop time. You should technically all be going the same speed if time's not moving. It's dumb. It's a dumb concept. But let's just say for half a second I'm wrong and infinite speed is a real thing. Why do they say he's infinite speed? Well, there's two reasons. One comes from the Norse games, where basically the Valkyries fly all across all of creation, and creation is multiple universes. That's it. That's the only reason why they say he's infinite as far as the Norse game's concerned. This doesn't make sense to me on many levels. For one, why does that make it infinite speed? Like, what does that matter? Where is the rule in God of War stated that you have to go infinite speed to cross across universal barriers to go to different parts of creation? Like, where is that stated? Also, we don't even know, like, how they're getting there. I mean, technically, Kratos himself is shown walking across all of creation. He uses the fucking tree portal thing to do it. Is he walking at infinite speed? How do we know the Valkyries aren't doing something similar where they're opening up portals to different universes and just flying across them at, like, normal, reasonable speeds? This one, I think, even for people who do believe in infinite speed, is a massive, massive stretch. There's another argument that people use from the Greek games, which I think is a little bit better, but still not great. And the evidence for that is that there's this move that uses Apollo's light, and Apollo's light is stated to be able to cover all of Hades. One of the game devs said that Hades is an infinite-sized realm, so the only way for that light to actually cover all of Hades means that it must have infinite speed. Otherwise, it would just be traveling forever and not get to the edges of Hades. You then acquire this Apollo's light as a weapon, and if you use it against Hermes, you literally can't hit him. Like, it's programmed that every time you try to hit him with it, he will immediately dodge, meaning that Hermes would also be infinite in speed. You then eventually beat Hermes in a fight, take his boots, wear them yourself, where you then get the speed of Hermes. Ergo, since Kratos was able to hit Hermes in the first place, that means that he was already infinite, and then when he wore the boots, that made him even, like, more infinite. I don't agree with any of this for many reasons. For one, the game dev that said that Hades was infinite in size, that's not at all what he said. For one, it was a concept artist, not game director, not writer, just the guy who wrote the art. And the only evidence that they had is that in the God of War art book, there's a little description that he wrote next to one of the pictures he was drawing of Hades, where he said he was trying to draw Hades in a way that made it seem as if it was infinite. It just went on endlessly. I think it is a massive stretch to take this statement from a concept artist and say that just because he says he was trying to give the feeling that is infinite, that it went on infinitely, that means confirmation 100% that Hades is infinite in size. So as far as I'm concerned, the entire starting point of this argument is on extremely shaky ground right out the bat. But even outside of that, none of this shit makes sense, like across the board. When Hermes has the boots, he's so fast that Kratos can't even touch him. He's considerably faster. It's only after Kratos gets in a trebuchet and then fires it at the building that Hades is in that it collapses on top of him, damaging his legs, which means he can only use his speed in very short bursts, and then that's when Kratos is actually capable of fighting him. The lore of God of War also states that the Titan Hyperion is the fastest of all the Titans. And there's an ability that you can get in God of War Ascension that is called Essence of Hyperion, where in the description of the ability, it literally just straight up says that it allows people to move at light speed. Considering that we see that the Titans and gods outside of Zeus are capable of fighting each other on par, and the absolute 100% fastest Titan is only light speed, this would make it not make sense if characters like Apollo and Hermes were infinite, Kratos was infinite, all these characters were infinite, when the absolute fastest Titan is only light speed. That doesn't make any sense. What is far more likely is that this statement by the concept artist about Hades being infinite is literally just him saying that he's drawing it to make it kind of seem like it's infinite. He wants it to appear as if it goes on forever, and that's literally all it means. He's not being literal here. This would mean that the light of Apollo is just light speed, Hyperion is just light speed, and Hermes could be be light speed. Perhaps he's a little faster since you can't hit him with the Apollo's light, but he doesn't necessarily have to be faster to be dodging it. He could also be light speed. It just seems like with all these different hints, the consistent thing here is that shit moves at light speed and characters are capable of dodging shit that moves at light speed. That's it. It's also important to note that Hermes is literally the only character that's shown being able to dodge Apollo's light. Nobody else can do it. Not Kratos, not Zeus, literally no one. It's only Hermes. So absolute maximum in the God of War universe, Hermes might be slightly faster than light. More than likely, he probably is light speed to match Hyperion's light speed movement, who is the previous fastest character before we met Hermes. And every other character is probably a pretty reasonable speed level. So the whole infinite speed argument for Kratos, it just doesn't make sense. You're ignoring too many things, and you're going off of two very vague statements. So yes, Kratos with the boots of Hermes, which to be fair, at the end of God of War 3, the version of Kratos that we are using does have Hermes boots, so he should be light speed. In terms of strength, however, I think there's a much better argument to be made that Kratos himself is, if not infinite in strength, close enough. Like, so strong to the point that he might as well be infinite. The reason why I say this is because one of the PSP games, I'm not gonna say the title right, I always get the two PSP games titles confused. It's the one with Atlas and Persephone is trying to destroy the whole universe by having Earth crash into Hades by destroying the world pillar. That game, you know what I'm talking about. If you remember the title, put it down, but I always get them confused. Point is that in this game, it is directly stated that by destroying the world pillar, it's not just Earth that falls. Earth falls, Olympus falls, and the cosmos falls. And the novels do say that the cosmos in the God of War universe is infinite. Now, is this like metaphorical or just like flowery language where it's so big we're just gonna call it infinite? That's possible, but the fact of the matter is it is still the cosmos. It's still tons and tons and tons and tons of stars. It's a lot of shit. Basically, in God of War, in the Greek games, the cosmos essentially sits on top of Zeus's sky. Zeus's sky sits on top of Olympus. Olympus sits on top of Earth. Earth sits on top of Hades. You get it. By Atlas being able to lift all of this up, he's literally lifting up the entire universe as we know it in the God of War games, and Kratos is the one that overpowers him and forces him to hold that up. Now, he does overpower him one arm at a time. It's not like he takes the full force of Atlas. He takes one arm at a time and forces it up and then ties it to the top of the fucking Earth so he could hold it all up. And since Atlas has 4 arms, I guess you could say he's like 1/4 the strength of Atlas, but 1/4 the strength of a dude who lifts up the entire cosmos and Earth and all of this is still super fucking impressive. So even if you want to say the infinite size of the cosmos is just sort of flowery metaphorical language, it's still a lot. The dude is still lifting up like galaxies, or at bare minimum like a quarter of a galaxy by him overpowering Atlas. It's still very impressive. And it should be noted that this is without him using Spartan Rage or the Power of Hope, both of which multiply his power a significant amount. Not small, like it's literally a multiplication type of thing. There are characters shown being able to close to match or even be stronger than him that are completely fucking destroyed when he taps into these powers. Nor does that include the fact that Kratos has actually gotten stronger in each consecutive game, so much so that the developer of each God of War game actually makes his combos a little bit faster, just slightly, not enough for you to really notice, because they want to give the subliminal messaging to you that he's actually becoming a better fighter and getting stronger as the games go on. That's something that they literally did in God of War 1, 2, and 3. They made each of his combos slightly faster. This means that Kratos, absolute bare minimum at base, is a cosmic level threat. And potentially, if you take the whole infinite cosmos statement literally, he literally has infinite strength, and there's just no limit to how hard he can fucking hit somebody. And before people want to dive into the Norse games again, no, I do not believe he's multiversal. No, I do not believe that Thor and Jormungandr splitting a piece of the world tree makes them multiversal. We don't even know the durability of the world tree. While yes, the world tree does house multiple universes, why is splintering a piece of it mean that you're breaking the multiverse? Like, if I take a sledgehammer, go out my backyard and break up some concrete, since that's a part of Earth, can you say that I have the power to destroy the planet Earth? No, doesn't make any fucking sense. That would be stupid. There is no evidence whatsoever how durable this tree is. For all we know, it just has the durability of a normal tree and then just happens to house a fucking multiverse inside of it. That's fine. Why isn't that possible? It's fiction. You could do whatever. Why are you trying to like mathematically guess the durability and just say the durability is equivalent to destroying universe? That's so weird and random, and like, where are you getting this from? You can't use math to do this because this isn't a mathematical thing. Universes aren't fucking locked into planted trees. On top of his strength and speed, he has a lot of other powers. For a long time, I argued that Kratos was like one of the strongest characters in all of gaming. He more or less resists every hacks you could possibly think of, from time manipulation to existence erasure to death manipulation to mind manipulation, fate manipulation. You keep going, just keep going forward. He has so many resistances to so many different types of abilities. I'm not gonna list them all because it's gonna make this video 30 minutes longer than it already is, but the dude has a lot of resistances. I would argue he has more resistances than he has just like outright powers, and he has a lot of outright powers. He himself can stop time. He himself can affect fate. He himself can control the weather, create illusions, disperse illusions, alter his size, summon an army of the undead to fight beside him, steal the souls of other beings, force those souls into permanent servitude, empower himself via massive rage power. Basically every form of elemental manipulation you could possibly think of. He can massively increase all of his stats via his rage. His rage also summons the fire of Hades, as well as Zeus's lightning. The fire of Hades actually burns souls, by the way. And the lightning of Hades is just like, I don't know, really fast. I don't really know how, like, there's not a whole lot that we see that makes it super superior, except for the fact that lightning bolts seem to travel a lot faster than like normal lightning bolts. But other than that, we don't really know what effect it has necessarily. As I said, I'm not gonna go through every single one. If it becomes relevant over the course of the video, I'll bring it up. But just know Kratos has a lot of powers. So many powers. The Greek saga are 6 games, and in every game he has a totally different list of powers, and it adds up after a while. It's a lot. It's a very big number of powers. First up on the chopping block, we have Celestials from Marvel Comics, and I know people are going to be annoyed by that the moment I say it, because people really like to talk about Marvel being like one of the most powerful series ever in like the history of fiction, and it's really powerful. But I think this actually might be one of the ones where I talk about and people might agree with me. I don't know. Not really sure. I usually get surprised with what people agree and disagree with. Oh, also, for the people who disagree with me about the whole Word of God thing and Word of God not being able to be taken seriously, I would just like to say that the head editor at Marvel has said directly that there is no Marvel hero in the entire comic book universe of Marvel that is faster than light. This happened after they released a comic book that showed Wolverine dodging the shit out of all of Thor's hits, and people called bullshit because Thor should be faster than Wolverine. Like, Thor legitimately admitted that Wolverine was faster, and people were like, wait, that doesn't make any sense. Thor is way faster than Wolverine. And then the head editor was like, no, actually none of them are faster than light. I don't know where you guys got this from. And the writer of the Immortal Hulk storyline, who most people say is one of the strongest versions of Hulk, has directly stated that Immortal Hulk is not capable of blowing up a planet. The only version of Hulk that could blow up a planet is Green Scar from the World War Hulk and Planet Hulk storylines. And Immortal Hulk was able to one-shot Thor, punched him in the face, fractured his skull, and beat his ass so badly that Thor just straight up called Immortal Hulk a godlike being superior to himself. And again, writer of Immortal Hulk said that Immortal Hulk is not strong enough to destroy a planet. So, if you Word of God people want to take that whole Word of God shit so seriously, that would mean that Thor is not light speed and not planetary. In fact, he gets trumped by a dude who can't destroy a planet, so he's significantly less than planetary. This is not my opinions. This is you Word of God people. I don't think that we should just buy into whatever the fucking creators say. I think we should actually see what happens on screen or on the page and then come to our own conclusions. But if you want to go with the whole Word of God shit, that makes a lot of y'all's series a lot weaker than y'all think it is. So yeah, it's pretty obvious to me that the Celestials are losing here to Kratos. And I know people like to say like, okay, well, the Celestials are like these massive godlike universal level beings, even more than that, multiversal. I mean, based on what? Like, even the main 616 universe was not solely created by just the Celestials. There are a bunch of different gods from a bunch of different pantheons that all came together to create the 616 universe and all of the universes within the Marvel multiverse. We have seen Celestials, individual Celestials, show up and create planets and some stars and like sections of universes, but there's never been a single Celestial who just came out and just created an entire multiverse or even one single universe. So I don't really know why people jump to the conclusion that these dudes are universal or multiversal. As a collective, like all of them together, yeah, they can create a universe. It takes some time, but they can do it. But they can't just create and destroy universes all willy-nilly. I mean, that's not really how it works. And honestly, throughout Marvel Comics, Celestials are fucking jobbers, man. Basically, anytime a writer wants to show that a character is like super powerful or some super impressive feat, they have them kill off a fucking Celestial. It happens all the time. Doctor Doom's killed a Celestial. Thanos has killed a Celestial. Black Bolt has killed a Black Black Bolt killed like 12 Celestials with a single yell. The Apocalypse Twins killed a Celestial. Fucking Avengers 1 million BC or whatever they're called, they killed a Celestial. And yes, I know Odin was a part of the team, but this was a much weaker version of Odin before he became like the god Odin that we know of him now. That team also had Black Panther and Iron Fist on it, and they killed a Celestial. My point is that Celestials get fucking killed all the time, and they get killed by characters who are nowhere near universal or multiversal. It's not really that difficult of a feat to kill. I mean, I can't do it, but it's a massive stretch to say Kratos can't do it. Even the Celestial's size really shouldn't be all that much of a problem. Like, there are some Celestials who are just fucking massive, like way bigger than Titans in God of War. I mean, Nowhere, which is kind of treated as like a fucking moon or like massive space station, is the head of a Celestial. There actually is a straight up moon in Marvel Comics that is just a Celestial's head. I believe that's the one that Dr. Doom killed. There are some seriously large Celestials, but that's not really saying all that much in the God of War universe. I mean, the Primordials that created the entire, Greek God of War universe were so big that when one of them got punched in the face, it created several star systems. Like, his blood splatter just became the fucking star systems. These characters were like pieces of universes encompassing a single being. They were larger than galaxies, like considerably larger than galaxies. And we actually have writings in the God of War universe that state where gods have defeated primordials. It's directly stated in God of War 3 that the primordial Nyx is beaten off every single morning by Apollo. Nyx shows up to Earth to try and take it over. She brings the night. Apollo shows up, kicks her ass, boots her from Earth. She leaves, and now it's day. That's God of War's explanation for why night and day happens. If Nyx is the same size as all of the other primordials we've seen, that would make the primordials considerably larger than that of the Celestials. And Apollo gets fucking bitch moded by Kratos. So I don't really see a reason why Kratos wouldn't be able to deal with super big Celestials. He's been able to kill beings who have killed things much, much larger. The only real issue I see Kratos having is his speed. He's really slow compared to what the Celestials can do, but he's so much stronger in basically every other category, resists pretty much every single thing that they can do, is physically stronger than they are. I don't really see it being much of a problem. And to be fair, we have seen Celestials be killed by shit that is a lot slower than light speed. Like I said before, Black Bolt was able to kill a bunch of them with a yell, and there's no reason to assume that his yell went any faster than the speed of sound, which is considerably slower than Kratos. So I think he'll be fine. I think he will dominate all the Celestials. And the fact that Celestials always have items and weapons and pieces of armor and things on them that have massive power tied to them, and that Kratos is known for stealing shit from the people he kills and utilizing that to empower himself, means that every single Celestial he kills, he'll just get stronger and stronger and stronger. So even if there is like some incredibly legendary Celestial out there that's more powerful than Kratos, Kratos will eventually surpass him once he kills enough Celestials. So yeah, I don't think this is much of an issue. Kratos is gonna dominate here. If you're enjoying the video, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, share, and join the membership. Join the membership, you get exclusive access to unique videos that no one else could get. I always wonder, do you guys even hear that whole bit? Like, I say that whole bit, but I feel like I say it so fast that a lot of people don't even, like, it just sort of blends in the background. You don't even know what I'm talking about. I'm saying to do like the like, subscribe. You get what I'm saying, right? Yeah, no, you got it. And don't forget to check down below the pinned comment where there will be a link to the Discord, as well as a link to my second channel where I have other videos that you could check out if you want to hear me talk about things that are not survival challenges, because everyone needs variety in their life. Are you tired of these ads? So am I. Let's get back to the video. Next up, we have the Seven Deities, or the 8 Guardian Generals from Asura's Wrath. I'm not really sure what I should call these guys, because the 7 Deities don't include Asura, and I am including Asura, but I can't call them the 8 Guardian Generals because they weren't deities when they were the 8 Guardian Generals, but it's whatever. The whole Pantheon, all of them, whatever the fuck you want to call them, that's what we're doing here. And not gonna lie, Asura hard carries. Super, super hard carries. The vast majority of the gods in the 7 Deities are not particularly powerful. They are. Like, one of them is the size of a fucking planet. But compared to someone like Kratos, it's really not all that impressive. It isn't until you start to get to Chakravartin and Asura at the end of the game that it actually starts being something that might kind of Still it wouldn't challenge him. Really, the only reason why Asura's on here is because Asura basically has a limitless ability to just continuously increase in power over time based on his rage and his combat and the damage that you do to him. He'll just keep getting stronger and stronger and stronger. He's like the Hulk in a lot of ways. And due to this, I was very conflicted of where exactly to put this on the list, because a part of me wants to put him like behind the Celestials, because the Celestials have all manner of different hacksy abilities that don't really exist in Asura's Wrath. Asura's Wrath is very, very very straightforward. You punch people, you throw projectiles, that's about it. There is virtually zero hacksy abilities in this series, but that really doesn't matter that much because none of the Celestials' hacks is even gonna work against Kratos. Like, if you took Asura, right, and you put him up against Celestials, he's losing. They have so many crazy hacksy abilities that would immediately obliterate Asura. They can atomize him in a second. They can destroy his soul. They can teleport him into some awful hell dimension that he can't get out of. There's so many different crazy things they can do to him, and he can't do anything about it. However, we've also seen characters who can't hit anywhere near as hard as Asura be able to completely and immediately flatten a Celestial. And if none of the Celestials' hacks are going to work on Kratos, which they won't, that means it's really just going to turn into a physical fight. And in terms of a physical fight, Asura is going to be considerably more difficult to put down. Asura's physical shit isn't strong enough to overcome Kratos yet. But if given enough time, and if that power just constantly increases as quickly as it was increasing before, because at the beginning of this game, he's only like punching through brick walls and shit. He's very, very weak. By the end of the game, Chakravartin is literally chucking stars at this dude, and he's just punching them into oblivion. It's not even like a big deal to him. If you give him a week or two of just constant powering up, you're talking about a dude who's blowing up fucking galaxies just by looking at them. Like, he's gonna get really, really powerful. I mean, he's still gonna lose because he doesn't have any resistance to any of the hacks that Kratos can do. Like, if Kratos wants to freeze time and kill him, he can do that. Or if he wants to, like, rip his soul out, he can do that. Asura has extremely limited soul. Like, it's not soul resistance. Two dudes can't take his soul away, and they say it's because he keeps, like, driving forward or whatever. It's like a really weak version of a soul absorption thing where, yeah, it's not, he doesn't have resistance to soul manipulation. Just leave it at that. But yeah, I am conflicted here because in a lot of ways, he's the weakest person on this list. Like, in a lot of ways. Because I think he could possibly be the easiest person to kill. While yes, it's true he can defy death as long as he's angry, and he's always angry, there's ways around that. Like the previously mentioned soul absorption, or just, you know, destroying his conceptual being. But in other ways, he would arguably put up a way better fight against Kratos because he's just way stronger. Look, I know that some of the Celestials are impressive, sure, but again, we've seen them be wiped out by pretty low tier attacks. Way lower tier attacks than things that we've seen Asura do. Like, that's just not even close. Asura has potential that he could possibly be a threat if Kratos just forgets that he has a bunch of hacksy abilities and tries to slug it out with him for long enough that Asura can gain enough power that he can actually challenge him in a physical bout. So probably not gonna happen. But it'd be kind of cool to see, you know. That's something. Next up on the list, we have the Chaos Gods from Warhammer 40k. I'll be real with you guys. I don't know why y'all think the Chaos Gods are so powerful. I don't get it. I mean, don't get me wrong, they are powerful. On Slanesh's birth, he destroyed a large portion of the galaxy. So it could be assumed that if he actually attempted to destroy more, he can destroy a lot of it. He's clearly a cosmic level threat. He even has demons that are larger than planets that could blow up whole solar systems. Like, they are cosmic beings for sure. But I just cannot wrap my head around why people would even begin to think they are universal or above that. Like, where is the evidence? I can't find it anywhere. In order for a being to be universal or above, they have to have created or destroyed a universe. They haven't done either. In fact, technically, the Chaos Gods don't even fulfill the role of a god. They shouldn't even be called gods. They didn't create people. People created them by their emotions and feelings and thoughts and all that. They're empowered by the people. Without the people, they wouldn't exist. So they're not even technically gods in the traditional sense. It seems to me the only reason why people would have them above a galactic level is because of the very nature of their existence, like how they're sort of these higher dimensional beings who can influence the universe in different ways with different types of hacksy abilities, and that's cool, but I don't see how that makes them universal. Some people even have them above that at like super high multiversal, or just like made up shit like fucking omniversal or whatever they call it. I don't see how that's even possible considering the entire Warhammer universe is just one universe with a bunch of like pocket dimensions and shit. Like, it isn't even a legitimate multiverse, so how can characters be beyond universal? And I know what people are gonna say, Rouga, that's stupid. The reason why the Chaos Gods haven't destroyed the universe is because they need the universe. They gain power from the universe. It's not their goal to destroy it. Why would they? I understand that, and I'm not complaining that they haven't destroyed the universe. What I am saying is if they haven't done anything like destroying a universe, then you can't argue that they are. It doesn't make any sense to make the argument that, well, they can destroy the universe, they just never have and never will, and we'll never see it, and it'll never be confirmed, but for sure 100% they they can. Just know it, trust me. I see something similar to this in my comment sections all the time where people come up and be like, oh, you're so stupid, you don't know what you're talking about. I would fucking dominate you in a debate, it wouldn't even be close, I can instantly prove you wrong. And I'm all like, okay, well, come to the fucking Saturday streams where we have debates. It's every Saturday at 7 p.m. CST, come on over there. And they're always like, no, I'm not gonna do that. It would be so easy for me to beat you, it's not even worth my time. I can't be bothered with doing, I could totally do it, but I'm not going to, and you just know that it's fact that I could, even though I won't actually do anything to prove. I see this a lot, this happens a lot. Like, imagine you're in some wannabe alpha male's house, right? And he's like, man, I can punch through solid concrete. And you're like, hey, there's some concrete right there, prove it, go punch through the concrete. And he's like, no, I'm not gonna do that, this is my house, I don't want to destroy my house. I'm like, yeah, that's a viable reason as to why you wouldn't do it, but you just saying you can do it doesn't mean you can do it. Go, like, we have to see you do it. He's like, nah, you should just trust me. And if not, you're fucking stupid. That's basically what people are saying about the Chaos Gods. They are definitely extremely powerful cosmic level beings, much in the same way the Greek gods are in the God of War games. They can destroy very, very large sections of space. But even the primordials that were almost completely wiped out by the Titans are shown capable of creating and destroying much larger sections of space than anything we see the Chaos Gods do. And they were overthrown by the Titans, who was later soloed by Zeus. On a physical destruction standpoint, Kratos would be considerably more powerful than they are. Like, I understand the idea they're super, super hard to kill. I get that, right? They're formless beings. They exist in this sort of other higher dimensional plane. That plane in of itself doesn't really have a physical form. They can influence the universe in a bunch of different crazy ways. They are empowered by the emotions and the feelings and just events that happen within that universe, as they themselves are a manifestation of those things within the universe. Like, I get all of that. The reason why they're so low on this list is because they're not going to be that difficult to kill for Kratos. The God of War games, specifically the Greek God of War games, deal in formless conceptual beings that gods have to kill. It's actually a pretty big part of the story. They completely get rid of this by the Norse games, as the gods in the Norse games aren't conceptual beings. They're just kind of a different race of beings who are more powerful. You like, anyone can, like, the giants can kill them. If you're strong enough to kill them, a fucking dwarf kills Odin. Like, it's perfectly okay. Which is just another reason why Kratos in the Norse games is basically just a completely different character than Kratos in the Greek games. It might as well just be a complete straight up reboot. Because in the Greek games, it is specifically stated that only a god can kill another god, because those gods are concepts and people can't destroy concepts. What a god is in the Greek games is a concept made real. They just are concepts. We have multiple examples of this. Thanatos' daughter, Eris, which is one of the bosses in Ghost of Sparta, probably? One of the fucking PSP games. Like I said, I get them confused all the time. It is straight up stated that Thanatos just took the concept of pain, gave it form, and that created this chick who was his daughter. Literally all of the Greek gods have this. When Apollo is killed, the god of the sun is literally deleted from the sky. This is why it's such a big deal that Kratos is going around killing all the gods, because after he does, he's essentially removing a concept that needs to be there out of existence, and it starts destroying the whole fucking world. Without these characters here to have a grasp on these concepts, it spreads chaos. Get it? The whole chaos being trapped in the fucking chest and then it gets out. Speaking of chaos, chaos itself in the God of War universe is a being that has been around since the time of the primordials. It is a formless, shapeless, conceptual being. And Zeus was able to take this formless, shapeless being, the literal concept of chaos, and lock it in a fucking box. Being the literal manifestation of a concept that is formless in a higher dimensional plane that is formless is not unheard of in the God of War universe. But actually, Kratos goes one step farther than that, because I can see a legitimate argument people could make where they essentially say that, okay, so what is Kratos going to do? He's going to go off and kill Slanesh, the god of change, and then change will just cease to exist ever? Well, I mean, that's certainly an option, but Kratos is oftentimes shown killing someone who is a concept and then taking that concept for himself. Basically, he becomes the concept of the person that he just killed. So he goes off, kills Ares, who is the concept of war, the god of war, and then he himself becomes the god of war, ergo the concept of war. He's done this a couple times. He did this with Thanatos as the god of death, and he does it with hope when he opens up Pandora's box. It's not just the power of hope. That's pretty, a simplistic way of putting it. Athena literally took the concept of hope and put it into a box, and Kratos took that concept and put it into himself. Technically, Kratos is not just the god of war. He's the god of war, death, and hope. Death is a little iffy because he was gonna become the god of death, but he rejected it. Like, he didn't want it. So we're not actually sure if he legitimately took it on or not. I think you can argue he did, because if he didn't, then wouldn't death not exist? Like, someone had to take on that concept. If it wasn't Kratos, then it was Athena, but someone is the new god of death. The assumption here is that it would be Kratos, since Athena's entire plan was to get Kratos to wipe out all the gods, and giving him more power would be a good way of actually doing that. She would have no reason to become the god of death herself, since at that time in her plan, she had no use for it. But we know with 100% confirmation that he is the god of war, and he does have the concept of hope, which should also make him the god of hope. Yes, I know, it sounds like they took a fucking plot from Care Bears and chucked it into my God of War game. I am aware. So basically what would happen if Kratos ran into Slanesh is he would kill Slanesh, and then he would take on the concept of change into himself, becoming the new god of change. And that's the same way it would work with all the Chaos gods. Yes, including Khorne. I know a lot of people want to argue that because Khorne is empowered by violence, any sort of violence that is used against him will just empower him. That's true, but a lot of people argue that as if just because someone uses violence against him, that makes him instantly stronger than they are, which that part's not true. Just because the violence that someone uses empowers him doesn't mean that Khorne automatically becomes more powerful than the person utilizing that violence. That doesn't even really make sense. Why would that happen? Theoretically, if Khorne has the ability to blow up whole universes and Kratos has the ability to blow up whole multiverses, and they got into a fight, it's not like just because Kratos is fighting Khorne would also be able to blow up multiverses. He would get stronger from the fact that Kratos is fighting against him, but like he's not going to suddenly multiply in power to become a fucking multiverse buster just because one dude who can blow up multiverses is fighting against him. There's nothing in the Warhammer 40k lore that supports that. That's just fans reading certain descriptions and then just fucking running with it, like way farther than they were meant to. So yeah, overall Kratos is winning this. We actually see visually on screen the Primordials doing considerably more impressive shit on a destruction standpoint than we see anything that the Chaos gods have done. And the gods that come out before the Primordials, like the Titans and the actual gods, are shown to be even more powerful than they are, given that they completely fucking wiped them out. That on top of the fact that Chaos gods don't have a single hacks that Kratos hasn't been shown being able to resist, makes it basically impossible for any of them to actually overcome him. Yes, Chaos corruption exists in the God of War universe, and it does not affect Kratos. The power of hope that he has makes him completely immune to it. Also, in terms of Pantheons, this is like the smallest one. There's 4 Chaos gods. So you can't even necessarily say that it would take all that long for him to actually do it. Last but certainly not least, we have the ancient gods from Doom. And yeah, this is pretty much where Kratos stops. Not gonna lie. Not gonna lie at all. There are a couple abilities that Kratos has that's super good and it's gonna help him here. Like, for instance, the fact that he has the power of hope will completely shield him from the Doom demonic corruption. It literally is stated to make him immune to corruptions. And while you can argue that Doom demonic corruption is significantly more powerful of a corruption than the one that's in God of War, which is true, how do you even properly, like, measure that to see if his resistance would be high enough to deal? Like, it would just, I don't know. I feel like you're just kind of throwing shit at the wall at that point. If the power of hope is specifically stated to make him immune to corruptions, I'm going to take it at its word and say that he's immune to corruptions, including the demonic corruption. Not going to save him, because there's a lot of characters in this game that can fucking kill him. Kratos has never destroyed a whole universe. He's never fought anyone who has destroyed or created a whole universe. There is no one being that is capable of creating an entire universe. In the entirety of God of War, the universe in the Greek games were created by the Primordials, but it was all of them together killing the fuck out of each other that created the universe, not just one dude. Even in the Norse games, there is a multiverse in the Norse games, but none of the Norse gods are actually responsible for creating it. And even in that game, he is shown to be significantly overpowered by characters like Surtur. He just isn't up to that level where he's just shattering fucking universes. It's just not happening. But in Doom, there's literally a limitless number of gods, all of which are capable of destroying and creating whole universes. Davith just passively creates universes simply by existing, and had all intentions of just straight up erasing all of existence after his fight with Doomguy. Doomguy is capable of fighting against Davith on par, and literally none of Davith's infinite fucking hacks that he has was able to affect Doomguy in any way. There is not a single hacks that Kratos has that he will be able to successfully use against Doomguy or Davith, and likely won't be able to use it against any of the demon lords either, who used to be gods and were corrupted by the demonic corruption. Many of these characters, like Doomguy, is shown to have all of the same resistances that Kratos does. Both characters are above the concept of time and completely ignore it. Both characters can destroy conceptual beings and manipulate conceptions. Both characters are immune to being erased from existence. Both characters are immune to corruption. Both characters can destroy souls, on and on and on. The only difference is that Doomguy is doing it at a way higher level. Like a way higher level. It's not even close. Like, I don't think Kratos could even damage him. Like, he won't even be able to actually harm him if he hit him with his weapons. Also, the fact, which is something that I'm not 100% sure I should even bring up, because I'm not sure if it's fair necessarily. Then again, fights aren't necessarily about being fair. Characters like Doomguy and Davith are considered primevals. They are a being greater than that of gods. Gods do exist in the Doom universe, but primevals are more so than them. Only a primeval can kill another primeval. They are completely immune to damage or death from any of the lower beings. Nothing like this exists in God of War. In God of War, you have the Greek gods, and then their parents that were the Titans, and then their parents, the Primordials, but the Primordials are never shown to be above that of gods or some higher level. They're just first. The primevals aren't first. Primevals are just brought into existence by the multiverse when the multiverse needs that primeval to exist. They are brought into existence out of necessity, and many of which are created for the sole purpose to destroy universal level gods. That is not the case for any character in God of War or Kratos himself. It's very possible that even if Kratos does have the ability to destroy concepts, he still won't be able to kill Davith or Doomguy, because they're both kind of beyond that. Davith does have the ability to blink all concepts out of existence with a thought, but can't do that to Doomguy. He has to just straight up kill him with his bare hands, which is the same exact thing that Kratos is going to have to do. But given the massive gap in power between these two series, he ain't gonna be able to do that. So Doomguy wins. Or, well, Doom as a whole wins. But yeah, Doomguy's a part of it. Doomguy and Davith, both of them win. They win by like a massive fucking margin. And honestly, this isn't even a situation where Kratos and Doomguy wouldn't actually fight, because Kratos, as he was in God of War 3, would absolutely be an enemy to Doomguy. Doomguy's gonna kill him. Doomguy's going to massacre him because he kills so many people. He kills millions of people. Oh my God, would Doomguy kill him? Wouldn't even be close. But that's all I have for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, share, and join the membership. Remember, join the membership, you get exclusive access to unique videos that no one else gets. And don't forget to check down below in the pinned comment where you will get a link to the Discord, as well as my second channel, where I have all manner of different videos that are not survival channels. And by all manner, I say two, but you know what? There'll be more. Don't worry about it. So if you want to hear me talk about other things that aren't survival challenges, go check on over there. And as always, y'all stay safe out there, you hear?